Hey, this is Patrick, the IT guy, tech support guy for Better Homes and Gardens. Today I'm going to do a video going over some of the options on data backup, basically ways that you can keep your, any kind of important files, your pictures, just anything in general, saved and secure. So that way, if anything ever happens to your computer, if it's lost or damaged, that way you've got some options on backing it up and, recovering all that data. There's a few different options. Kind of the first and easy ones that I know a lot of people will kind of have is if you just have like a little thumb drive or hard drive, something like that you can just plug into it. Then there's also cloud storage. Some of that you might be familiar with, and that would be like iCloud, Windows One Cloud, or like Google Drive. And then there's kind of a different like data backup. There's some different programs and software that you can get that they don't just save all of your information to like the cloud, but you can actually completely be able to get your computer back exactly the way it was, just on how it's saved a little bit differently. And then there's another option, which is like your own kind of personal home kind of like Wi-Fi cloud storage, which is just basically it's like a Wi-Fi enabled hard drive that you can set up. But basically with the purpose of any of these, the idea is, if you lose your computer, if your phone's stolen, if you get a virus and things are wiped out, that you've got access to be able to get your files back and pull everything back up here. The first thing I'm going to kind of go through is on another laptop here is just the cloud storage. Like on an iMac, any kind of Apple products, one of the options you've got is iCloud. That's something that just comes with Apple built in by default. If you just go to like Apple's page, it has a little bit of information on it here, but if you go, it shows like automatically you have 5 gigabytes of storage. So by default, that's not going to do a ton for you. If you're just doing like the free option that they give you, you really just want to maybe back up just like some really important documents, things like that, that you might need to save. But if you've got tons and tons of pictures, either you're going to want to maybe look at a different option, or you might want to opt in to pay for like more storage through Apple. But if you go, you can kind of manage this a little bit here. If you go up here into the system preferences, and then you go into the Apple ID, you can see, what's all, synced up with your iCloud there, but you can see how much is right here is saved onto it. So if you're getting close to that 5 gigabytes, or if you're getting any kind of like, warnings that you can't save anything else there, if you go to this manage option, it'll show you what all is in here and what's all saved and backed up. But you can also buy more storage, and they've got different pricing, for it's like 100, 200 gigabytes or something like that, and scaling on up from there. But that's one thing that if you do opt in for more of the storage there, then you can tell it to sync up and back up like all of your photos and all of your, the stuff that you want there. But that's just one option. So I'm going to disconnect this one real quick here. And again, this is just a real kind of high level overview of it. I'm not digging into anything too deep on it, but I guess if you guys want videos later, I can do maybe something more of that. I'm actually going to drop that computer from the call there. And then on the same page, you can actually, a lot of us have an Office account, and they're already paying for like, Microsoft, the 365 subscription. Built in with that is going to be, some options for the OneCloud that they have there, and yeah, okay. So that's one option that it's already built into the subscription. It already gives you, some amount of storage if you're paying for like the monthly or the yearly fee for, Microsoft Office already. And typically that's just going to show up as, if you go into a program here, you've got the OneDrive right there. You would open it up, you'd be able to tell it like what kind of folders you want to sync to, what information you want to get. And then kind of the nice thing about OneDrive, and then also Google's like the drive that Google has as well, which will go in a little bit. You can also do kind of like a live collaboration where you can go in and edit your documents. You can share it to other people. They can edit it as well too. That's something that you don't see with like the iCloud kind of stuff. So it's really, OneDrive is one thing that's or really it's a good option. I mean, for a lot of different reasons, but I mean, again, a lot of us already have the OneDrive, just built in with Office. Couldn't hurt to set it up. One thing that I want to kind of point out here is, and I've referenced this before, but PCMag.com, they have a lot of good kind of just real highlight overviews of a bunch of different programs. So like this is some of the cloud storage that they've reviewed here, and you can kind of, if you click the little pros and cons button here, you can get a basic, kind of bullet point statements of, what's good, what's bad with each one. And OneDrive comes in pretty high on this one. Google Drive also comes pretty high rated on this one as well. And then the Apple iCloud storage, also comes in pretty decently. But, again, that's a, built-in option for all the Apple devices. So one thing that people don't always think about is like Google Drive. A lot of us will maybe just back up like 1 or 2 documents if you have, some Google documents or something like that, or if you just want to send a link to share something to someone. That a lot of people just kind of think of as like a small kind of cloud storage, but you can actually go ahead and you can download the Google Drive app on like on your PC or on a Mac, and then you can actually use it kind of like the Microsoft cloud has it, where you can tell it, okay, I want to sync up all of these folders, and then it'll actually do, kind of a continuous backup where it'll save all that information there. Again, I think it's one of those things where you get a certain amount for free, or if like you're a G Suite user, like, for the Better Omaha accounts, I believe you get a certain amount there too. But if you want to go something bigger, if you got 200 gigabytes of photos or something like that, then that's something that you can always, sit there and pay for more and all that. But the cloud storage is, it's nice, it's convenient, it'll automatically sit there and update all that stuff, and kind of keep that updated for you. You don't have to think much about it at all. Kind of some of the downside to that is if you're going somewhere and you need to record something, or if you need to download something, you do have to have data. So if you're out in somewhere and you don't have a good connection, or if you're trying to use like your phone hotspot or something like that, it could take a while. But for just the ease of just setting it up and just having it automatically go, and then good amounts of storage there, it's a pretty solid option. So if you ever want to take a look at the site here, there's a handful of different ones, and again, you can kind of get an idea of maybe what works best. But I think for a lot of people, OneDrive is kind of covers a lot of bases there. Another option that I kind of hit on there is there's actually different services that you can get where it's actually like a full data backup and recovery for your actual hard drive. So it's not just where you say, I want to save this folder here of all my documents, or I want to save these pictures or anything like that. But what it does is it periodically goes through and it will take like a snapshot of what's your computer, what's on the drive, and it's not just your files, but also like the Windows operating system, something like that. So if your computer crashes or anything like that, then sorry about that. So kind of the advantage of this is if you lose your computer, or if your computer drive crashes, you get a virus and you have to wipe it. Some of these services basically allow you to not just go and grab those like all your photos and your documents and all that, but then completely re-image your computer to the way it was. So all of the little settings, your background, all those different things, all that's going to be exactly the way that it was. One that popped up on both of them for cloud storage and the data backup service is this iDrive. I've never used it before, but I thought that was kind of interesting that it showed up on both of them. But again, you kind of see, some of the options here, but some of these ones, you save all the image and you can kind of download it, or you can save it off to like a hard drive, depending on the service there, and then you can recall everything. A couple of them actually had an option where if, let's say, your computer crashed or something like that, they could actually put everything back onto a hard drive, like a physical hard drive, and then mail that to you. So it's maybe not the quickest way, but it could also be kind of an easy way that you need to swap the hard drive and everything's good to go there. So that's An option that you could look at, it's not really a popular one, but you know, that's one different option there. Um, Something else that, you know, obviously a lot of people are used to is either using like little flash drives or actually having like a hard drive here. These are going to be good for when you don't need data, you know, like you don't actually have to have like a Wi-Fi connection or anything like that. So uh, a lot of the time, you know, I mean, these are pretty cheap. I think these are like 5, 10, 15 bucks at like Target or, you know, Best Buy or anything like that anymore. But you know, for little kind of files that you're going to use a lot, or if you just need to transport something from your computer over to like a different computer just to be able to print it off, then that's something that you can, you know, just throw it on here, you know, quickly put it onto another computer, print off of it, share it with someone. So if you just have a lot of files that you use commonly, maybe give to, you know, employees, different you know, people you're working with, like, hey, fill out this form, you know, something like this is a good way to go. Really easy to lose these though. I mean, that's why I got mine on a nice little lanyard, so that way it's a little bit bigger and harder to lose. But you know, it's simple and it's easy. I mean, you know, just to sit there and like download all of your files on here like once every couple months or something like that, you know, or whenever you want to, just to make sure that you've got a backup. Um, you know, it's an option. It's not always the greatest because the downside to that is it's physical. It could get lost. You know, somebody could break it. You know, step on it or something like that. Or like if, you know, unfortunately if something happens, like you get in a house fire or something like that, and your laptop and this are like sitting both at your desk, then, you know, if they're stolen or something like that, then, you know, it's kind of a bad deal there. So having like a cloud option is really nice because, you know, if something happens physically to your equipment, then it's still going to be fine. But it's also nice just to have convenience just like this. So um, one other thing I'm looking at getting set up for myself here that I've been thinking about for a while that I didn't is you can actually get um, it's basically like a Wi-Fi enabled hard drive. So it's like a web based, you know, kind of, it's your own personal cloud backup. So something like this, this is one that I was kind of looking at, but there's a handful of different ones out there. So if you look for like, you know, my own personal cloud, Wi-Fi enabled hard drive, you know, personal NAS, NAS, for network attached storage. There's a lot of different options out there, but this MyCloud one I thought was a pretty reasonable one, where basically you would set this up, you'd create an account with them, you'd have like a software that you can kind of sync up, and then, you know, that way I can say, okay, you know, that 200, you know, gigabytes of pictures that I've got over the last 20 years, I want to back up that folder there. You can plug your computer into it and then still, you know, download everything really quickly, but also at the same time kind of leave it at home, so that way it's just there and it's kind of synced up. You can also sync it up to like a phone. There's a phone enabled app that you can use there and sync up like pictures there and then instantly pull it off on your computer once it syncs up. The nice thing kind of about this is there's no monthly fees. You know, you pick the amount of storage that you want, you pay a one-time fee, have a little setup, a little bit more maintenance than like a cloud storage does typically, like, you know, the OneDrive. But you know, it's just kind of again, it's a nice thing where, you know, no matter what happens to your laptop or anything like that, that might be sitting in your basement, you know, just, you know, kind of collecting all the pictures and all that stuff there. Um, the one thing, if you're looking at one of these, an option that comes up that is really kind of important is called RAID, RI or RAID, and it's basically where it's going to have two hard drives that are mirroring each other. So if one of those drives dies, the other one keeps on working. You don't lose your data, because if you know, and the downside with any kind of these like little physical drives like this, if you only have one hard drive in there, then if that goes bad, you lose the data, or you have to pay somebody to try to recover it off of that for there. But this is kind of a good option that kind of fits the middle ground between both, where, you know, it's something that's simple. You don't have to worry about someone accessing your own account more than likely. You know, like security access, you know, problems like if somebody gets into Microsoft servers or whatever, which I haven't really heard of. But then also you have the physical option. It's easy and convenient there. So yeah, I mean, I kind of recommend having maybe like two different options. You know, like a cloud one and then something physical. You know, it's just nice, so that way you've got everything that's kind of like permanently off-site, that's backed up, so that way if anything ever happens to your house or anything like that, that you don't have to worry, you know, that it got ruined. But then also it's nice to have, you know, something physical that's nearby that you can just, you know, quickly access things that you need to. But yeah, if you have questions about this, anything that comes up with that, feel free to reach out to me. You can reach me at 402-469-7977, or you can always email in at techsupport@betteromaha.com. Thanks. Have a good day.